Welcome to the weekly update, starring the thenotrub. And here's your host.
Hello everyone, and welcome back
thenotrub.
to another great episode of your weekly Humpdate. And this is the thenotrub, as usual, here to tune in for your pleasurely delight and news segment. I just want to apologize on behalf of Cat Beer Productions on last week's absent episode. School started last week, and as you've probably already heard me say for the past couple of videos in Amnesia and the jam sessions, that I've been particularly really busy, and my schedule has been changing quite a lot. And it takes a lot of adjusting and rescheduling and researching, not only for that, but everything else that I do, including the Let's Plays, the Minecraft, scheduling stuff with Max and Larry and everybody else that are here and there, everywhere. So I just want to get that out there and let you guys know that I am thinking about you, and I'm glad that a lot of you, or most of you, or maybe even just one of you, missed my episode of your weekly Humpdate. So I made sure while I was, taking a leave of absence to find some really interesting stuff for you today, because as the commercial goes, what day is it? What? If you know what commercial I'm talking about, it's the Humpdate commercial. So it's actually, to be honest, I think that's what kind of got me this idea to start. So tops to you guys for making that commercial, because it's pretty freaking awesome. So thanks. Today's segment, we're gonna, as you can see, I'm wearing a white shirt. It's logo right here is my church Acts group. I don't know if many of you know about Acts. It stands for a certain group of people that are just wonderful group of people. And just doing a little advertisement, And if you haven't been on an Acts retreat, please visit your local church and ask about Acts, and maybe even go look it up. So, yeah. Anyway, basically what's going on today is that today is 9/11. A lot of memorial services have happened today. A lot of things, a lot of people discussing where were you on September 11th. Just to give a little backstory on myself, and if any of you feel, any remorse or dedication or remembering anything that happened on that day, or somebody that you loved that was involved, or just you want to say something by any means, go post on the comments. Thanks. Well, for me, where I was on 9/11, I was going through a really weird phase. My mom had to deal with a lot of my grandfather, her dad's issues, and was, really involved in the public elementary school system, not system, but the school that I was at. And I was a very likable guy. Everyone liked me, but only, I don't want to say because of my mom, but I mean, she did everything that she could. She was the spaghetti, fundraiser lady. She helped with Scouts. She, helped with like Christmas and Easter stuff, and she was a homeroom mother. She printed yearbook. I mean, she almost pretty much did everything, and everyone loved her. And but unfortunately, my grandfather had to go on dialysis, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in his life, and unfortunately, with years to come, he couldn't make it. And so my mother was also teaching catechism, in which case, if none of you know, catechism is what, like, the church teachings for like the Catholics and stuff like that. So we go to these, I guess, classes to learn about that and confirm and all this other, stuff. So I was going to public school, catechism stuff, because all the private school kids had theology in their regular school day classes. And so anyway, she wanted me to have that Catholicism within my teachings. And so because she couldn't give enough time toward a lot of the school stuff, she enrolled me into a private school or a Catholic school, in which case I loved it. I loved every experience that I had at that school, and I met some really awesome people, and I made a lot of memories there. But the one memory I can remember, and it involves 9/11, was that It was around the first couple of days of school, and I didn't know a single person. Well, I knew Max. Max was the only person I probably knew there. But other than that, I just did not like being there at the moment. I didn't have a lot of friends. It was a weird transition at the time. And then, bam, I go to school one morning. It was September 11th. And in fact, it was Max's birthday the day before because his is on the 10th. So, you know, we were probably having a good day, good night, having fun, eating cake and stuff. And then I have to go to school the next morning. And then we would have school announcements on the TV. Well, before, you know, before you could switch to the channel where you watch the news from the school, you would see what's on TV. And when we turned on the TV, and our teacher wasn't even in the classroom yet, we turned on the TV ourselves, and then bam, it was like right there. And we saw flames in the air, you know, a plane crash, and it was a lot for fifth. I was in 5th grade, you guys. Like that was, I mean, I'm a senior in college now, and that it's been a long time. It's 12 years, I believe. And so I reflect on that and how I felt, and to be honest, I feel bad because it's not that I didn't feel any kind of remorse, and I do now. I have a more respectable outlook on it. But other than that, it was just like a shocking feel of awe. You know, I didn't know what to really think of it. It was just like, we've been attacked, you guys. Like that's something that could happen where I live, because where I live, you know, we have like a plants kind of thing, you know, like not nuclear, but kind of like power plants, you know, and that could be bombed. Oh, well, sorry, don't mean to try to use any of those kind of words, but you know what I mean? Like we could be attacked at any time, any day, and that could be us. That could be anybody. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be America, but that can be anybody else. And just for that to happen is just horrifying and scary. And it didn't really hit me until today thinking about it. I was like, man, you know, I'm so grateful for having a great family and wonderful friends in the life that God's given me. And I feel remorse for the families that have to lose loved ones, because I know how it feels to lose loved ones. But numerous, almost like accounts of that. I mean, it's almost as bad as the Holocaust pretty much. And anyway, I digress. So that's where I was on 9/11. If any of you feel free to share any kind of remorse or kind of just want to speak out, please go to the comments and leave something for me. Thanks. Now, on to happier news. It turns out that the third metric from Huffington Post decided to give a nice little map here to tell us which were the happiest countries in the world. And it turns out that America ended up being less happier than they were back in 2005 and 2007 as they were now. And as far as the world's concerned, we got a little bit happier, and so that's pretty cool. And the least happiest country would have to be Africa. And, you know, again, it's kind of sad to think about that. And you don't want to think about being sad, but at least it has some kind of percentage saying that they're happy. So put on a smile today so we can boost up the ratings and happiness, you guys. All right. Next thing, I don't know if many of you were watching, big sports fans watching last night or whenever it was, because I saw it on ESPN and what's not, and it turns out that United States soccer clinches the 2014 World Cup spot after a 2-0 win over Mexico. Huffington Sports claims to say that the United States clinched its 7th straight World Cup appearance, getting second-half goals from Eddie Johnson and Lardian Donovan. Excuse me if I messed up the names. I'm not really up to date with soccer, but my friend David could probably shed some light on that. But anyway, they did that on Tuesday night for the now traditional 2-0 home qualifying over Mexico. They pretty much had a big applause afterwards out of the Americans. They were just going nuts. So we're happy about it. So congratulations to you guys. I hope y'all get pretty far. So, you ever had somebody telling you that video games either ruined your life or possibly even like damages your brain and makes you go off in la la land? Well, it turns out that TechSpot from Technology News and Analysis website claims that video game study demonstrates increased cognitive responses. They say that neuroscientist Adam Gazzaley from the University of California at San Francisco, favorite place, has published a study suggesting video games created to specifically target a cognitive deficit that can improve the daily life of an individual in question. What's more, Gazzaley claims other non-targeted cognitive areas can also reap benefits. It's not the first time that this study's been done, but there's definitely few that successfully demonstrates how these tests can be done. And so these subjects ended up being tested against 20-year-olds that weren't familiar with the game, but expected to have better multitasking abilities that would help them to do better in the game. Now, I'm just going to point another little experience for me. Back when I first started college, which was back around fall of 2009, I was pretty much going out of the box, out of my norm, because previously in high school I had been the good student. You know, I was inside the box. I was doing my homework on a regular day basis. I was the good kid, you know, just all-out round guy. I stayed to myself, stuck to school and whatnot. Now, when I got out of college, I kind of let open a little bit of things, partied a little bit much my first semester. Not too much, but while I was studying and trying to keep my good grades, because I did have scholarships, yeah, those are very important. So, anyway, I had to make sure to study. But the one thing that back in high school that helped me study was that I played Guitar Hero. And I don't know if any of you know Guitar Hero, but it's that game with the plastic guitar and you go, it's not real guitar, but it's close enough. But because it was so, you know, you had to get each and every note with every strum, it's almost like counting. And it kind of put me in this mode of like an attention span that I originally would not have. And I know it sounds weird, but as soon as I would get done playing 30 minutes of gaming, I would go and do my homework like that. It's like I knew exactly what I was dealing with. But whenever I wouldn't keep my brain moving, I wouldn't be able to do stuff. And in fact, I played an hour worth of Guitar Hero one night before my math final senior year. And the next morning, I think it was an A. Or no, I'm sorry, it was Algebra 2 on my junior year that I did that. And I made an A on my final. And I thought, you know, that's pretty cool that video games can do such a thing. Now, next thing. A lot of you, we had talked about Apple the last couple weeks and how they were going to be changing up for the 5S. Well, it turns out the Wall Street Journal says that Apple tests iPhone screens as large as 6 inches. Guys, the iPhone is getting bigger. I'm telling you, we might as well just use the iPad as a phone now, because yes, we want it like mobile accessible and it fit in our pockets really nice, but at this point I'm almost saying, why don't we just get like a little thing we can put in our ear and just answer it like all the time? Then that way we can go back to just calling people, and then, you know, it just, I think it'd be better. But that's just me. It turns out that Apple, it says, it is unclear whether Apple will ultimately choose to follow a multi-size, multi-device strategy beyond shipping a new lower-cost model for the first time later this month. The company often tests different devices and configurations before choosing a course. So pretty much what they're going to do is that they're going to find what best fits for the phone itself, and we'll go from there. Now, really weird stuff going on. I was just reading another article about this, but apparently the Two-Way website, or NPR website, says that deep in the Pacific, scientists discover biggest volcano on Earth. Now that is some weird stuff right there, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, most volcanoes I've heard about that are way larger than what this one is, but I've heard that even America has a volcano in it, and it's pretty big. So anyway, so it turns out that they said this newly revealed Tamu Massif volcano, which is located about 1,000 miles east of Japan and 4 miles below the ocean surface, is about the size of New Mexico. It not only outclasses previous record holder Mauna Loa in Hawaii, but by about 60 times. But it's in the same league as Olympus Mons on the planet Mars, the largest known volcano in the solar system. guys, like, this is just some weird stuff. And it goes on to say that it's not tall, but apparently it's extremely wide. A vertical undersea behemoth compared with the land-based Mauna Loa, which measures just 2,000 square miles. I mean, this volcano is part of a larger underwater feature known as the Shatsky Rise, but only in the past few years has Sager's team been able to determine that it's a single volcano. So for any of you that are near the Pacific, take watch. May get to see something soon in the next couple of years. And we keep going. So many of you football fans that have been watching this past week, my team, the Saints, well, it's not my team, but I'm a big fan. So I've always been a big fan. I'm not a bandwagon fan because, you know, those are people before or after the Super Bowl. I'm a before Super Bowl fan, and I love the Saints with my heart. And, you know, I give out to all those other teams like Green Bay Packers and the Texans, Houston Texans. They're pretty good, but my team did a really good job Sunday, and I think that they could even make it to the Super Bowl. But that's just me saying. If your team makes it, congratulations to you too, but we're just going to see how it runs in the long run. We only had our first game this week, so let's keep things going. But while we're on the fact of Super Bowl, it turns out that it was announced, I think even before this past Sunday, that Bruno Mars is to sing at the Super Bowl halftime. Huffington Post Entertainment says that the Super Bowl will be played February 2nd at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Halftime shows have drawn more than 100 million television viewers into the United States. And it's saying that Mars, who was born at Peter Hernandez, released his platinum-selling debut Doo-Wops and Hooligans in 2010 and released his second album, Unorthodox Jukebox, last year. His hits include Locked Out of Heaven, Just the Way You Are, and Grenade. Personally, I like the Lazy song, but that's just myself. Apparently, Mars is one of the pop music top acts with several #1 hits, including his most recent, When I Was Your Man. Now, I've seen a lot of halftime shows in my day, but nobody's going to top Beyonce and Justin Timberlake's. But who knows? Maybe Bruno will do a pretty good job. So we'll give it to him. And speaking of certain titles, such as the World Cup and the Super Bowl, it turns out that from Huffington Sports, they say in 2020 Olympics is announced, Tokyo named host in IOC vote, edging Istanbul, Madrid. It goes on to say cheers and shouts of Banzai echoed across Tokyo just after sunrise as thousands of people started to celebrate the city's successful bid to host the 2020 Olympics. Congratulations, you guys. I'm glad that y'all got that because let me tell you, China was a little intimidating with the boom, 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 you know. So hopefully you guys got something really interesting for us. And to end today's news segment, we found out that, you know, there was this ad a while back that said you could make wine into ice cream. So it'd be like alcoholic ice cream. And a lot of people had some issues on that. But now it gets even worse. And by worse, I mean fun for the rest of us and not the ones who don't like beer. But apparently Spreadable Beer is now available. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can use beer to spread on your bread, your whatever food item you want. I mean, you could take this thing and be like, blah, blah, and now you got it, and you can get drunk and eat and have a good time. So yeah, definitely, if you want any more information, I always leave the links that I find for this stuff at the bottom of the About section. Go check these out, and it's going to be great. On a side effort, though, my channel is undergoing a little bit of changes. Recently, I added a discussion section, so any of you subscribers that subscribe to the channel can discuss and talk about things. Click on the discussion tab, and you can do stuff there. I've organized a lot of my playlists to be more proficient and able to find. I'm working on a trailer video for you guys that haven't, you know, people that look at my channel and want to subscribe. I'm working on that. Hopefully by not next year, but by the end of almost near the end of the year, we'll hopefully have a trailer video. And as always, if any of you have any cool ideas, go to the discussion page, email me, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Either way, definitely send me a shout out. And another thing before I say goodbye, Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs has been released as of yesterday, and I am literally excited. So y'all definitely need to go check that out on Steam. It's probably going to cost you about $20, but I'm telling you, I've heard from my good friends from the Britlin, as I'd like to call them, or not Britlin, but the Nabscast, yeah, well, Brit kids. Either way you want to look at it. It's a great game, Amnesia Machine for Pigs. Heard it's really scary, really exciting, keeps you at the edge of your seat as always, and definitely go check that out if you have the money and the time to really go do that. And as always, I hope that all of you have a wonderful day, and please keep it in your hearts for those of 9/11, and remember to keep our families, our friends, and everyone close to us that we love, because you never know what may happen. So that is your weekly hump date, everybody. Welcome back and have a wonderful day. See ya. Okay, where's my coffee?
This has been another weekly hump date with the Nut Rub.